Hey guys, Brian here. Today we're going to be creating some lacto-fermented yogurt, some homemade yogurt. Really good probiotics, lots and lots of probiotics, more than you could ever get from a pill, probiotic pill. And it's really simple to make. You don't need any special tools. You can do it just in your oven, but I have my yogurt maker, which makes it a lot easier. It's really handy. Then I don't have to leave my oven running. Yeah, what we're basically doing is fermenting milk for 24 hours, and that basically eats up all the lactic acid or all the lactose in the milk, so all the sugar, the milk sugar, and turns it into healthy bacteria. So what I've got here is just a normal pot to heat up the milk in. I got some organic goat's milk. I like using goat's milk. I don't know, I just like it a little bit better. It does make a little runnier yogurt as opposed to cow's milk, but they say it's more closer to actually human breast milk than cow's milk is. So some people find it a little easier to digest. My yogurt maker. I've got a thermometer, so I can keep an eye on the temperatures. Wooden spoon, you want to use wood, just because they're a little bit better, less, not metally. And I got some yogurt starter from giprohealth.com. This is a non-dairy yogurt starter, so you can use this if you're going to make a nut milk or a nut yogurt or a coconut yogurt as well. So this is actually really good. So you can, if you don't want to purchase this, you can just use some yogurt commercially bought at the store, because it will have the bacteria, the starter cultures that you need to basically get going and start creating the yogurt. So all I'm going to do here to get started is take my milk and crack her open here, and then just pour it into a pot. And then I'm going to heat it on the stove here for a little bit. Now you don't want to just put it on boil and get it boiling. You want to heat it gently, so it's not rising in temperature really quickly, because that'll actually damage the milk. But yeah, you just want to make sure you keep an eye on it, keep stirring it every couple minutes until it gets up to temperature. And I'm going to use my thermometer and keep an eye on it. I want to get up to 180 degrees, and so you don't want to go much beyond that, especially with goat's milk. They say you don't want to get beyond 183 degrees because it starts to damage the milk, but you want to get above 180 degrees. Because it is pasteurized milk, you have to do this to kill all the bad bacteria that could still be living in it. If it was raw milk, which I'd love to get my hands on, but here in Ontario it's a little bit harder than some places. But anyway, if it was raw milk, I wouldn't have to do this step, because raw milk has all the good bacteria still left in it, whereas pasteurized milk, it's all unfortunately been killed. So I'm just going to let this gently heat here. After it gets up, I'll keep turning the heat up a little bit and keep an eye on the temperature with my thermometer. My yogurt maker did come with a nice thermometer, but I ended up ruining it, so I have this nice digital one I got off Amazon. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep going with this, and we'll get her up to temperature here, 180 degrees. Okay. All right. So we've got the milk here is heating up. I'm at 178 degrees right now, so I'm almost there. As you get within above 170 and stuff, you want to be continually stirring it, because the milk right around the thermometer might get to 180, and the rest of it might still be at 170 or so. So you want to, or on the bottom, it'll be a little bit hotter than what's at the surface. So you want it to all be heating nice and gently and nice and consistently. So keep an eye on it and continue stirring. So there, I just hit 180. So I'm gonna take it off right now. It'll still get a little warmer, but I did end up finding my little clip, which makes it for my thermometer, makes it nice and easy to hold on to the thermometer, and I'm not holding on to it with one hand. But Also, you want to make sure that the thermometer is not touching the bottom of the pot. because it'll read the temperature of the metal and not the actual temperature of the milk. So something to be concerned of. So now that the milk's heated up to 180 degrees, we want to cool it back down. We've already killed off all the bad bacteria and pathogens or anything that might be in the milk. Now we want to cool it back down. So let it cool off the burner, just in the just in the air. Some people cover it with a cloth or whatever. The idea is we want to get it down to around 100 to 110 degrees. So one way to do it quicker that I like to do is put it into the sink with a little bit of cold water and maybe a little bit of ice cubes floating around. Yeah, you can, if you want, just leave it sitting on the counter until it cools back down. It will take quite a while, like at least a half an hour if you're just doing it just to let it cool in the air. But in the sink, it takes less than 10 minutes or so, and then from there we'll go on. So I'm gonna let this cool. I'm actually gonna put it in the sink, so because I'm impatient and don't want to wait for it. So yeah, we'll be back after it cools down. So temperature we're looking for is under 110. You don't need to go much below 100. So if you do go below 100, you just got to heat it back up again, because the temperature we're going to be using to create the milk or to create the yogurt is between 100 and 110 degrees. So yeah, get her back down to down in that range, and then we'll be good. Okay, so I've got the milk cooled down now. It's down around 102 degrees. So it's right in that right temperature range. Like I was saying, when we're heating it, we want to continually stir it, right? Because different areas will be warmer than others. You don't want to have, I've done it before where I thought it was at the temperature, and then I went and stirred it, and then it ended up being way above, so it didn't end up working so well. But you want to make sure you stir it so it's all nice and consistent. So we're done with that. Now it's time to add the yogurt starter or the culture starter. If you're using a like a commercially produced yogurt, I mean, try to get organic, of course, but just plain yogurt, you'd use that. Use a couple of heaping tablespoons of it and throw it into your container. If you're using a pot, throw it there, mash it around. But I'm using this yogurt starter from GI Pro Health. I really like it. So what I'm supposed to use is 1/8 of a teaspoon for 2 quarts of milk, but I like it a little thicker, so I found using 1/8 of a teaspoon for my 1 quart of milk works really well. So I go ahead and I put that in my container that I'm going to be fermenting it in, and then what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of milk, maybe about a cup of milk to it to allow it to mix in fairly well. So I'm just going to mix it all up until all the chunks are gone. It's all broken down and really mixed in. Okay, and this would be the same if you're using a yogurt, just a commercially available yogurt to start it as well. You just want to get all the clumps out of it, make sure it's all mixed really, really well. So go ahead and do that, and then we're going to add the rest of the milk to and then mix it up again, and then put it in my yogurt maker. Now, if you don't have a yogurt maker, that's quite fine. You can use the oven. What you're going to do is just you take out the light bulb in your oven and replace it with just a regular light bulb, like a household 60-watt incandescent light bulb. And then you're going to ball up a little piece of tin foil and use it to prop the door open. Now it's a little bit of trial and error, so you're going to you want to have a thermometer handy inside the oven, because you want to keep that optimal range, like I said, of 100 to 110, and so that the light bulb is powerful enough. You don't need to even have the oven on at all. It's just that light bulb creates enough heat inside the oven to keep it during that in that heat range. And you have the little ball of tinfoil to prop the oven open a little bit, because it actually gets a little too hot in there with that light bulb cranking out. So yeah, if you don't have a yogurt maker, it's a perfectly fine way of doing it. You just have to keep an eye on it a little bit. Now I'm gonna add, so I've got this mixed up pretty good. I'm just gonna add the rest of the milk. Okay, get it all in there, and then give it a good stir to make sure everything's mixed up really well. And then we're good to go. So my yogurt maker, you put a little bit of water in the bottom, and it basically creates a bath. You know, the water fills up around this inside container and keeps everything at a consistent temperature. Now, the only thing with the Yogurt May that I've found, and I've heard a lot of other people found this as well, was that it will actually gets too hot. So what I've done is I've got a little a dimmer switch. This is actually like a dimmer for a lamp, or like, you know, a light in your room, that I just got it at Walmart for like 10 bucks or something. And actually I need to dim this just a little bit. You can see here I've got, you know, it's just a little bit off of the max strength. So it's, you know, it's not full strength. So it actually, I've trial and error this as well. Some, like you do with the oven, right? You trial and error, you know, how far open you need the door on the oven. I've trial and error this, how far I need to dim it. So I actually just need to dim it a little bit, and I keep that setting there. I should put a little line with a Sharpie or something, so I know I don't knock it, but I haven't done that yet. So anyway, go ahead and seal that all up. You know, I got both my lids on. Some people say to leave the inner lid off, just put the outer lid on, because you know, you'll notice when you do check this that the inner lid will get some condensation on it. You know, the difference in the temperatures, and they say that that keeps that down because it'll condensate on here and then just drip into the outside layer. But I just like to seal it right up like that. So then I'm going to let this sit on my counter here in an out of the way spot for the next 24 hours. Now, some people don't do it for 24 hours. Like the one, like yogurt you buy at the grocery stores, fermented for maybe 4 to 6 hours. So it's still really high in the lactose, the sugars, the milk sugars. So that's why it's not a very good option for consuming. And it's also doesn't have a lot of probiotics in it because, of course, it is, you know, hasn't had that full fermentation. So people on SCD or a GAPS diet like myself, they're going to want to do a full 24-hour, they say 24 to 30 hour ferment, because then that makes sure you've eaten up all of the lactose, all those sugars, and you've got a full spectrum of the lactobacillia bacteria that you want, the good bacteria. So yeah, I'm gonna let that sit there and you know, check on it tomorrow. If you you are still figuring out your thermometer, you want, or figuring out your dimmer, use your thermometer every couple hours, 3 to 4 hours. Check to see where its temperature's at and adjust accordingly, because you want to keep that, like I say, 100 to 110 degree range. All right, so we'll check back with this 24 hours. Okay, so it's been about 25, 26 hours on my yogurt, so it's pretty much done. You want to make sure you go more than 24 hours, so it eats up all the lactose, and not longer than 30, because then it starts to kill off some of the beneficial bacteria. So it's all done. Just gonna unplug it. Take my inner jar carefully out. And what I like to do is actually take off the inner lid and carefully and give it a shake, because it's got tons of water on it, and I, you know, don't need the yogurt extra runny. But you'll see in here that the yogurt's fairly firm. If you want, you can maybe scoop off some of the little water that's on top. It's up to you. But yeah, I'm just going to put the lid back on it and put it in the fridge for about 5 or 6 hours, and then it's going to be good to enjoy. So yeah, that's how I make my 24-hour SCD legal fermented yogurt.